let's do this. All right. I'm just going to read over what I want to say and go from there. Okay. My name is Ache, and I'm the host of the podcast show called Maybe You Can Relate. Maybe You Can Relate is all about a walk through my 20s. I talk about the things that I've learned, the things that I'm learning on my journey, and it involves a lot of self-reflection and vulnerability that others may or may not relate with. The beauty of this podcast lies in its ability to provide listeners with the chance to encounter various scenarios, delve into different perspectives, and allow them to reflect on their own life, regardless of their age. If you think that's a podcast that you would want to listen to, you can find the link for it in the caption below. Now, this isn't clickbait. I actually want to give my podcast to you. But let me explain why first. I love talking about my experiences and my stories and the lessons that I've learned in my life so far. Although I feel like there are many things that people can relate to and learn from with my stories and advice, I think it's time to hear new stories and new perspectives. At first I thought, how about I have guests on the show? So I can have conversations and the listeners and myself can get new insight and new perspectives on stories and advice. And that's the goal for me eventually with the show one day. But honestly, as a full-time student and someone who works almost full-time hours, I can't coordinate something like that right now. However, I came up with another idea. How about I give my podcast to you? Now, if you're anything like me, you've had the thought of wanting to have your own podcast, or you've had moments where you're talking with your friends and you're just like, this would be a great podcast episode. Well, this is your chance to have that episode. And then we could call it Maybe You Can Relate with insert your name here. How cool would that be? So who's allowed to participate? Great question. Anyone can participate in this. You don't have to be in your 20s or a girl like me. Age, race, gender, doesn't matter. I want to hear from everyone and anyone. So that means you. Ache, that sounds like such an amazing, fantastic, perfect idea, but I don't have a microphone. How would I record it? You don't need a microphone to record your episode. If you have one, great. If you don't, that's fine. Audio is important, I will say, but your story is even more important to me and to the listeners. If all you have is your phone to record, that's more than okay. Okay, perfect. But I don't have a camera to record my video on. Neither do I. This is why this podcast is mainly audio. So, if you do want to make your episode a video, by all means, it's your episode. You can make a video if you want. But it doesn't have to be. Audio is just fine. Oh my gosh, Ache, that's great. But are there any limitations to what we can talk about? Yes and no. You can talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you want to talk about how to invest your money properly in your 20s, that's cool. I want to learn more. If you want to talk about how you just got a divorce and now you're back in the dating scene, that's great. Can't wait to hear it. If you want to talk about your walk with God, that's amazing. I'm excited to listen. If you just need to vent and get some stuff off your chest, that's cool too. Any advice, anything you feel compelled to share, it's totally okay. Even traumatic experiences that you feel like there are many people who would be able to relate to you is cool as well. But I will not accept any hate speech, no racism or discrimination against others. And if you do send me anything like that, I'm just not going to use it. So beware of that, I guess. And if there's anything you really do want to talk about, but you're not 100% sure if it will be accepted, feel free to email me or DM me on Instagram and just ask me. Okay, that's cool, but I really don't have anything I want to talk about, but I still want to have my own episode. Well, then this is your time to get creative. If you're an artist or you just want to share your art, you can have your own episode. For example, let's say you're a poet and you want to spend 10 minutes sharing your favorite pieces that you wrote, then by all means, you have an episode. Okay, I love this idea, but I'm kind of shy. Can I make my episode with a friend? Of course you can. You can have your episode with your friends, you can have it with your parents, you can have it with a mentor. As long as I have consent to post from everyone involved, I'm cool with it. Okay, but are there any rules? Yes, I'm glad you asked. Rule number 1. Your episode must be 10 minutes long minimum, 1 hour max. If you go over, it better be one heck of an episode, or I will not accept it. Rule number 2, try not to swear. If I don't swear in my episodes, neither should you. But if anything, I'll just bleep it out and we should be fine. Rule number 3, you must introduce yourself at the beginning of every episode. But side note, if you want to stay anonymous, that's okay too. You won't have to introduce yourself, and if you want, we can
add a voice filter so your voice is less recognizable and you can still get your story out and your thoughts out and your advice out there.
Rule number 4, have fun with it. This is your time to shine. Like I said before, this podcast is about reflecting on your own life, learning about new things, and gaining different perspectives. But most importantly, it's so that you don't feel alone. It's easy to go through life thinking that you're the only one going through certain situations, but 9 times out of 10, you're not the only one going through it. So this is why I want new stories, so that less people can feel alone. So if you know anyone who would be interested in having their own episode, please share this video with them. And if you're interested in making your own episode, start right now. Give yourself about an hour or so, take any topic, set up your phone, set up a microphone if you have one, and hit record. Talk. We want to hear you and what you have to say. And once you're done recording, send it over to me to this email, and then I'm going to put it right here. And we'll go from there. I hope you feel compelled to have your own episode and to share any thoughts and feelings you have about anything. Again, if you have any questions, hit me up and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But anyways, thank you for tuning in. This is Maybe You Can Relate. Okay, I think that sounded okay. You think it sounded okay? Okay. Let's see where this goes.